Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? How's your day so far? It's been a couple very, very busy days for me, and I wasn't able to come online, but I'm here today. So nice to have you around. Uh, Today's topic is how to keep your physical and the sexual attraction alive in your relationship after the honeymoon stage. So, firstly, when you are when you have a crush or you're infatuated with someone, right? There's this chemical called dopamine, right? It gets really high, especially when you find that person attractive, right? The first thing the first thing you see in a person that makes you want to talk to them or makes you want to look at them a little bit more or approach them is how they look, right? So physical attraction is very, very important, right? A lot of people, both men and women, right? You eat with your eyes before anything else. That means you you look at a person, you size them, you start to imagine things about them. Some good, not so, some not so good. But my point is, first of all, when you see a woman as a man, right? What makes you want to talk to her? What makes you want to approach her? What makes you think, oh, she's attractive? It's the physical. You don't know her. You don't know who she is. You don't know anything about her. Never met her from Adam, right? But just the way she looks makes you want to get to know her better. It's the same thing for women. When a woman sees a guy, um, first thing she looks at his watch, his shoes, his haircut, the way he's dressed, all of that matters. So when people go out and if you say to yourself, oh, you want to be in a relationship and you're looking to meet someone, but you dress shabbily and you go out, what do you think? What do you think you're going to gain from that? No one's going to talk to you. No one's going to approach you. No one's going to give you a glance, right? So the first rule of trying to attract someone into your life is make sure when you're going out, you look nice, you dress all that jazz, right? But when you're actually in that relationship, how do you maintain that, right? How do you keep the spark alive? Some people, when they after they're establishing a relationship, maybe a year or 6 months, or even 3 months, or even 1 month, right? They get so relaxed, they stop taking care of themselves. Do you know that this partner of yours, right? They go out, they go to work, they see other people. They see how the girls dress at work, they admire them. Not sexually, okay? They're not thinking anything sexual. They just like the way the person dresses at work, right? And the same thing for women, men and women happens, right? And then they come home and you're sitting there on the couch dressed in some dirty looking pajamas, right? If you're a woman, you're not wearing a bra, you're just there. No makeup, no nothing. How do you think the person is gonna feel? I mean, before you got into a relationship, you used to look your best, especially if you knew he was coming. Oh my God, or she was coming. You make sure everything was perfect, your outfit, everything, your place, you clean up, even if you haven't cleaned up for like a week or so. When you know she's coming, you do a deep dive cleaning, all of that, just because you want to keep that person, right? You want them to keep liking you. And then you get married or you settle down in that relationship and you forget all of that. But all of that does matter because eventually right? He's gonna get tired of seeing you all looking dirty, right? She's gonna get tired of it, and then she'll start looking elsewhere. You're losing them. So what do? Firstly, you make sure that you always look attractive, whether you're outside or inside or going out or staying in, for your partner. It's not necessarily about what other people think. You dress for yourself first as a person. Make sure you're comfortable with what you're the way you look, and then you think about your partner. What does she like? What does he like? And you make sure you dress that way. That improves the sexual side of things, because when they see you, they're like, yeah, that's my baby, right? It keeps that alive. First of all, take care of yourself, take care of your home, make sure everything is, you, everything is clean. Some people are clean freak. Some people are. They like it super clean. Some people just are happy with just the basics, right? You make sure that you keep that attraction alive. Look good, dress well, cook if you want to. That's for both men and women, because men should cook as well, right? That is one point. Also, there's a point where after a while, the physical part is not enough. It doesn't get enough. It becomes, especially if you're doing well and maintain that physical look, right? You want to go a bit more. You want to make him a bit more interesting. But how do you do that? First of all, you know that there's the paradox of distance creates closeness. If you're always in your partner's face all the time, and you're very clingy, you want to do everything together all the time, he wants to go shopping, you want to go with him, she wants to go shopping, you want to be there, uh after a while it gets really boring for both of you, because she's like something you just can't get rid of. So having a sort of distance between you, it's very healthy for a relationship. You have to have a sense of independence. Do your own thing. You have to have your own friends, your own hobbies. You have to have solo time. You have to do your own things. You go out, meet people, come back, and talk about it. Tell him all about your day. Tell her all about your day. Right? That keeps the relationship alive. Because if you start getting the human being likes, we all like variety, like whether you know it or not, right? When something becomes the norm and you leave it the way it is, it gets boring. Now, this doesn't apply to your relationship where you say, oh, a relationship gets you're bored of this person, you want to change that. You keep on changing for the rest of your life. Nobody's going to be perfect for you. Even if you actually eventually get married, right? After a while, do you know what marriage is? Marriage is like for good. After a while, you get bored with that person and you start hanging out with other women outside, right? First of all, you got to be content in who you are. You have to have your own job, your own hobbies, your own things that you do that your partner doesn't get involved in. Give that, have that little distance between you, right? So that um they miss you when you're not there. And when you're coming back, they're like, oh, she's coming back, he's coming back. And they're all excited. And they want to hear all about your day. If you don't do that, eventually everything is going to fall apart, because it's the same old thing every day. He comes home, you've cooked something, she's cooked something, you have dinner and you watch TV and you go to bed. It gets boring for every human being, right? To keep it alive, make sure you're doing something different to what your partner is doing. Have your own friends. Do something that they're not doing. There's also the part about some people want to wait for sexual encounter when the mood strikes. They want to have the perfect timing. I don't know. I suppose you've had a busy day, you come home, sex is not the utmost on your mind. It's not the most important thing that you want to have, you want to do. But it is important in your relationship. Waiting to strike the right moment, um, that gets boring over time. It declines over time. So in order for you to shift from being from spontaneous to responsive desire, right? You have to do something other than just have a specific time at this that you say at 1 o'clock every night we're gonna have sex, or at 7 p.m. You tell your partner, I'm cooking right now. I'm gonna be ready to have sex at 9 o'clock. Do you know there's something about women? Women cannot just switch on sex just like that. It builds up, right? For men, 1 minute they're ready, right? For women, it builds up, right? It takes, you have to get her ready, program her in a way. Not just by touching her, but by random things like when you're passing by, you give her a kiss on the or a peck, or you send her messages while you're at work, sweet messages, sweet nothings, you prepare her. You buy her flowers on your way back from home. Women need build up. They just can't switch it on. It's not normal for women to do that. For men, it's so easy. In 5 minutes, he's ready to go. So you need to know your partner. It's different for individuals. Some, when you buy them a bouquet of flowers, they're like, oh yes, yes. It increases that, the expectation. They want the feelings go over the roof, and they're ready. Some women, it takes longer. You need to know who your partner is. So you have to make time for physical closeness. That's important. Um, Messages, do romantic stuff. If you don't know how to get romantic, for God's sake, Google it. Right? Google it, find out, do it, or else when the man is ready and the woman is not ready, when you try to be intimate, at night or something, she tells you she's too tired, or she's not ready, or she's not in the mood. What are you going to do about that? In order to avoid all that, make sure you know who your partner is. You know her dislikes and her likes. You know what triggers that dopamine, right? You know what to do that would excite her, not just physical touching. Because you know what about physical touching? There's one thing about physical touching. It gets boring sometimes, because if you always signify your sexual intentions by touching her, every time you touch her, right? She she thinks that's what you want, right? Or he thinks that what you want, and he's like, oh, not today, right? But if you make touching, if you normalize touching in your relationship, some people call it being touchy feely. Some people call it just being what's the word I'm looking? Tactile, right? So that when you touch her and you kiss her, she doesn't associate it with just sexual intention. It becomes normal, right? It becomes normal. And holding hands, back rubs, other things that you do. But if you're going to do that scenario, you have to find something else to replace your sexual intentions, right? You have to step out of the norm to do something different, like role play, like introducing something, a physical help in terms of, if you go to a sex shop, they have so many of them that will make that help people, couples, initiate sex and make sex and spice up sex a lot more. So you can get creative. I mean, this is your partner, right? You're spending the rest of your life together. Why don't you make it fun, make it interesting, right? Invest in her, invest in exploring a little bit more. Because if you're always doing the same thing in the bedroom, your partner will start dreading it, because what? It's going to be exactly the way it was yesterday and the day before and last week. So you need to spice it up. Now, I'm not saying that you go overboard and do something your partner doesn't want to do, right? You have to know your partner again, what they like, their limit, how far they're willing to go, right? Slowly, you introduce all of that into the relationship, and it makes a difference. Because if you do not, before you know it, your partner is going to go outside to look for something exciting because because the sex at home is no longer important, it's no longer exciting. They want something to trigger that dopamine in them. And if you're not doing it for them anymore, that relationship is in trouble. So you need to make sure that you're able to keep it alive. It's not an easy task, right? And don't see it as work, as a task, or as a huge hurdle that you need to jump in order to have sex. Make it normal, right? Talk to your wife about it. Take her to go to your partner. You go to the sex shop together. Get what you want together. Choose it together. When you're outside your home, like you're having dinner, you talk about how you can spice up your relationship. Talk about it. This is your partner now, not a stranger. Okay. And the next one is master the art of checking, right? So for some couples, right, they have fantasy. People have fantasy before they meet someone, or when they meet someone, or when they're in a relationship, right? But unfortunately, bodies change over time. When you get married, or when you're in a relationship and you have kids, things change. Your life has changed. Your bodies have changed, right? Especially for the woman. If she was this tiny, skinny when you met her, when she has a baby, she's probably not going to be that tiny. Now you have to be ready for that mentally, right? Unless is your partner is the sort that doesn't put on weight, no matter what, she remains skinny. That's very rare. But for most women, when they have babies, their bodies change. You have to grow with the partner. When their bodies change, you need to make sure that you we're always there to make them feel beautiful, to make them feel um, loved. If you don't like the way they look, gently and nicely, you can introduce something like, hey, going to the gym. Say, look, I love the way you look right now, but I think you can look so much better, right? If you do this or that or that, and to help you do that, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it right with you. I'm going to stay right by your side and help you do it, and we'll do it together. Things like that would make her feel like you feel you're repulsed by the way she looks. She'll make her feel like, okay, things have changed, but her partner is with her and he's willing to help. For men, their bodies change as well. Some of them, your stomach was this flat when you met, and then suddenly he's in a relaxed and happy relationship. He gets um, the pot belly. I'm sorry to put it that crudely, but it's true. His belly becomes big, right? And then he doesn't look as attractive as he used to look. And then you don't, as a woman, you don't go to him and say, "Oh, look at your belly. I can't touch you. You don't find you attractive." No, you have to find a way to help him, right? Sort it out. First of all, you can start by doing little things. Make sure he doesn't eat too late in the night. Make sure he doesn't drink excessively. Make sure that he goes to the gym. You like to accompany him to the gym. Even if you don't have money for the gym, you can work out together at home. It's possible, right? Don't make them feel bad because of the way they look, right? Because if you do, it's going to kill your sexual relationship. Because when one party starts feeling that the other is not attracted to them anymore, some women just give up. Some men just don't care anymore, you know. But also, one of the important things is that you talk about it. Make sure that you explain what you're trying to achieve with your partner, rather than just making it look as if you're forcing it on them. Like you want them to go to the gym. You explain to them why it's important. You explain to them why you want them to look the way they used to look. You explain all of that, and don't make it look as if it's a punishment, right? So what can you do to fix that? Right? You talk about it. That's one. Um, Also, some people, even after going to the gym, they find it really hard to lose weight, right? You have to come to a point where there's acceptance. Right. She's not that skinny person you met initially. This is the way she's gonna stay, especially if she keeps on having kids. Because when you have the first one, she puts on a little bit weight. For some people, when they have the second, the third one, it becomes, they put on a lot more weight, right? So you have to make sure you talk about it, speak to them, right? Make sure that you open up and explain all of that, right? And make sure that they don't feel penalized because they've had your kids, right? Make sense? Right. I have a question, a very important question that I need to ask. What is the truth versus my truth? I hear that a lot these days. I see a lot of social media posts, and there was somebody's talking about my truth, right? So I'm thinking, I'm sitting there thinking, so does your truth mean that there's another truth that you're not willing to accept? Because truth is truth, right? If the sky is blue today, that's the truth, is blue. If someone tells me that my truth is that the sky is green today, what does that mean? Does that mean they refuse to agree with the reality, right? They've built up this other alternative truth in their head they want you to accept. Why should I accept your truth, right? I know of a guy, a person, my friend actually. He was, when we were at uni, she had this guy that she was seeing, right? And um, they dated for like 7 years. And then she broke up with him because he was very religious and he believed in not having sex before marriage. And he told her this from the onset. Okay, she knew. But she kept during the relationship, for entire course of the relationship, she kept on pressuring him to go, to be intimate with her. He wouldn't do it. And eventually, that was one of the things that led to their breakup, right? So after the breakup, she started telling us about it, and she said, and she suspects that he is gay. And but and I said to her, why do you think he's gay? She said, because he doesn't want to talk to her. He doesn't want to be intimate. He doesn't want to let her into his room. He said he's avoiding temptation. I said to her, but he explained to you, he said he's religious, on religious ground. He just wants to be pure religiously because that's what he believes for his God, right? He told you, why are you creating a separate kind of scenario and insisting that's the truth? She said, it is my truth. I was like, wait, why is your truth more important than the actual truth? Right? Because you're going away slandering this guy, spreading false narrative and stories about this guy, defaming this person, and you're calling it your truth? Where is the justice in that? How does that feel with the way things should be? I don't know. So, anyways, she kept on insisting. She did this for a while. And then they reconciled. She got back with the guy, and they eventually got married, right? But during the time, this guy never said a single word about her. He never went out and defamed her. He never responded, actually. So my question is, why would you do that if you think that it's the wrong thing to do? So in this generation these days, everyone is talking about their truth, and that truth is, even though it may not be the actual truth, they've taken it to be the truth for them. Right? It's become the norm. They've said to themselves, "My, this is what I believe," and everyone that hears about the story needs to agree with me. But that's not right, is it? That's not right. It's the wrong thing to do, and it's tarnishing someone's image. But the truth is that a lot of people don't really care about what other people think. It's just about them. Everything is about them, what they believe, what they see, and the truth doesn't matter. At what point do we start saying this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Let's stick with it. My truth is not your truth. It's not the truth. It's all in your head. Something, a narrative you've made up in your head that makes you feel good or that makes you feel justified in your actions. So can we stop saying that my truth, your truth, all that truth thing, right? So at the end of the day, there's only one truth. Doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. The truth is truth. So when you're going out there and trying to establish a story that is not, or narrative that is not what the truth actually is, remember, think about who you're hurting in the process. What are you doing? It shows that you're mentally ill, to tell you the truth, because you have this mental thing that you've built up this thing in your head and you're sticking to it, and you refuse to see the truth, you refuse to agree with the truth. Think about it. Because at the end of the day, you're hurting yourself. When are you going to stop it? Anyway, that's my rant for today. I hope I've entertained you a little bit. If you have more questions, please ping me. I'll come live. We can talk about it. Oh, I do the talking because none of y'all are sitting there and not talking to me. So talk to me, talk to me, send me a comment. But thank you for today. Thanks for um, staying on my live stream and listening to me. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day.